All right. So this is the Bankless Card Weekly All Hands. It's our tactical meeting where we're going to sync up on work going on around the organization, eliminate blockers, and prioritize work for the next week. In general, today is the last one of the season. Maybe you can take it a little bit easier, but I will still take an attendance. And I think our links are Christy, Tom, Tram, Mer, Renus, Grost, and Winverse.
I have March too, but he's driving in the car.
Okay, have March in there too. All right. So our lag metrics, this is what we're actually trying to get to 79% ready to launch a POC. That's +3 from last week. But we're still going to launch even if we're not completely ready. Actually, it might be worth looking at the things that we're waiting on. So 30K in commit. So this is our fundraising. This is something that it's probably we kind of pushed it to the side, but we can launch without this. But it would be good for us to get there. And create custom cards. This is almost done. POC. Podcast participation. This is going to happen in the new year. Email series for subscribers. This is in progress. Video demo on how to use app and KYC and order card. This is something that's now possible now that we have an actual run through. Run the Nouns DAO sign up campaign. Bankless DAO sign up campaign. While these are going to be going when we're ready to launch, we have 2,000 emails. Well, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, we're still working on this. So these are kind of the things that we're at. You can see that none of the things that are incomplete are really blocking us from launching, although they would be good to have. So although we're at 79%, we're still ready to launch at any point. On the lead metric side, we have +4 pre-launch emails. We have 21 of 30K in the multi-sig for the raise. We have 81% completion of the alpha app. That's +9%. So it was a good week last week. For the launch campaign planning, we'll wait till Coffee Crusher's able to join us for this. She is dealing with some power issues. She lives off the grid. So when the sun's not out, she's having difficulty getting on. Anyways, she's working on that. Team-wide announcements. We're not going to do a public launch this year, and we'll talk about it a little bit more during the discussion, but we will do a private launch to ensure that the app is high quality. It would have been really, really nice to do a full launch this year, but I think that most people have agreed that it would be better for us to ensure that everything is working correctly rather than trying to rush to a launch in the last week of the year when people's attention is otherwise occupied. So I don't think we wanted that kind of like Christmas spending, which would have been nice, but we still have a lot going for us anyways. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but the new plan is to ship in the new year, hopefully around mid-January. Another announcement, no meetings next week. I'm going to be ad hoc working, but mainly spending time with my family. In general, I think it's really important that we all take some time to just relax, get out of your day-to-day, seek some inspiration, and I think that'll make you better off for the new year. It's always a good time to reflect. Next meeting will be in the first week of January. That one, I think, will be pretty chill as well, because again, I will be with my family on that one as well, but I'll be ad hoc working. So the second week of January, we're going to be doing our retrospective. So one of the things that you've heard me talk about at our retrospective is our phases of product development, and we were in validation for like 18 months. And then in the last season, we quickly jumped into the build for launch phase and completed it, right? And so ultimately, we're probably going to be at the next phase of the cycle, which is build for fit. So that is when we take the product that we have that has been launched and make it better over time through our distribution, not just our product itself, but our distribution and our infrastructure, so that it is something that people like using and tell their friends about and use on a day-to-day basis. Anyways, something more to be talking about as we get into our retrospective, but the point is that we just had a major milestone coming out, and so it's really, really important that we take a beat and reflect so that we can learn from all of the things that we've been through over the last couple months and continue pushing forward in 2024. So look for that retrospective in the second week of January. In terms of new members, no one here we'll quickly go through the milestones on the funding side. With the delay, we can try to get some more fundraising in. I plan to reach out to a couple people regarding the fundraising. Same narrative. We have an app that's ready to launch. The fact that it is so close to launch and that we have a couple people on it as well may also be a catalyst for more people aping in. I think that would be a good thing as well. On the grant side, we're going to likely try to get into the next prop house round with support from some of our friends in Nouns. And what other kinds of fundraising things we'll be doing? Well, we're going to be thinking about that as we get into the new year. On our app side, our POC is ready to launch. We're getting our first alpha testers today. Hey, NF Thinker, what's up?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted. Just to cough there.
Oh, okay, no worries. First alpha testers today. Right after this call, Drost is going to be one of the first people to actually order a card. You'll actually be the first person, Drost, to actually go through the Bankless Card app and get a card, assuming it's working, which is a big assumption. But Tom and I, who live in Canada, sorry, go ahead, Drost.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said, oh my God, I'm honored. I'm a little terrified.
Yeah. Well, Tom actually ordered a card randomly yesterday because he put in some fake information and it accepted it. And so it was just going to be sending a random card to someone, but we had Transcard stop that from happening and implement. They had some issues on their side. Let's just say that. But everything, I think, knock on wood, should be working. So Tom and I can't test it because we live in Canada. We don't have everything we need to actually get that, but Drost will be the first, and hopefully Coffee Crusher and Sam Marin directly after that, followed by Arcusti. So we're getting into, I'm hoping by the end of the year we'll have between 10 and 20 people who actually have their cards. Fiat transaction and rewards flow are next. So we're still blocked on the transaction side, getting those fiat transactions, but I think we're going to be getting those pretty soon. They have all the information they need. We've kind of given them everything, and hopefully they push us along soon. But Tom figured out a way to unblock our rewards flow from our fiat transaction history flow. We will ultimately need to connect those flows to actually give people rewards, but for now, it gives us a way to test that rewards flow, or at least not a way yet, but when we figure it out, we will be able to. On the card issuing side, we should have pictures of the cards today, although we have heard that before. Basically, they tried to order the cards last week, and there was an issue at the printer, so they think that is fixed now. They're going to be shipped to me for review, hopefully this week. And then a new carrier is going to be ready on January 12th. This is the one NF Thinker worked on, and instead of saying stuff like Paynuver, so Drost, when you get your card, it's going to have this 2-page document which makes references to like Paynuver.com and stuff like that. No, we're not going to want that. So we have a new carrier that's going to be ready on January 12th, and that's going to be a 1-pager, and hopefully we can build from there. On the legal side, we're done here. On the DAO partner side, we're done here. On the launch campaign side, I'm going to leave that to Coffee Crusher and related assets. We're okay on that side. Let's pop into Asana real quick and take a peek. All right, now we have a roll salaries, and I will duplicate this. For week 51, getting close to the end of the year. All right. All right, and yes, I spent time as project champion and ops workstream lead. Communication, Rainus, did you spend at least 5 hours in the last week?
Yep.
All right, NF Thinker?
I do.
I spent more like 3 hours this week. I haven't had a lot of time to focus on the things that I wanted to focus on.
Okay. And Tom?
Yes, indeed.
All right. And Coffee Crusher, I will just quickly send her a DM. I was on Bankless Card in the last week. All right. All right, great. So that is that. I will remove these ones from, oh yeah, and she said that she did that last week. All right, and I will remove these from the all team projects for now, and we'll get into it. So we already talked about what is public and what is private information. We're gonna have some like action items coming out of this, so I'm gonna leave this here for now, Raina, so I don't forget about it. But I'm not gonna work on it quite yet. Just leave it in the inbox for now. we're going to go down into this week. Alpha app. Well, today is the day that we test our alpha app. And, I can't guarantee it's going to work, but if it does, then this will be complete. And so looking forward to that, user testing the alpha app. This is kind of what we're working on right now. We're going to get 5 users to end-to-end test the production app, and I'm going to gather an SUS score from this. SUS is a system usability score. Actually, I forgot to prepare that for you, Drost, but I will do our test, and then I will send you a survey for SUS score after that. NFTs for friends and family. Sean, this is done, Anna Thinker?
Yes, I would say this is done. The only thing we haven't there's one more to mint. And sorry, not mint, one more token to create, which will be minted by the last person who joined in. And I haven't done that since they enabled the off-chain signing. So I still just need to finalize that. But yes, the whole thing is, I guess we can call it ongoing, because if there are more donors, we're going to have to do the same thing. So I don't know if you want to push that into ongoing or mark as complete.
I'm going to mark this as complete. And so done. But what I will do is I'll put in here, I'll just put like NFT mint NFT for, what's the person's name?
Starts with the D, and I forgot off the top of my head. But I will find out and add that in there.
All right. Well, I put it in there for you, NFT Thinker, so you can mint that NFT, and you have a little bit of a reminder the next time we meet, so you don't forget about it. All right, so it's right there.
It doesn't start with a D. It's Adam L.
Okay.
A-D, same thing.
Adam L. All right.
Thanks.
All right, and our PLC launch campaign is ready. While we're working on this, I will ask Coffee Crusher, any update? And we'll leave it there. Nouns Prop House. How's this going, NF Thinker?
So they did ask us to hold off until the next round. What is it called? The Gardeners round that finalized today. So the new one. So I think it goes into review, and then they start a new one soon. Dom recommended that we take a look at the winners for this. Take a look at the recent winners to form our own proposal, and then also keep an eye on who's submitting for this round, because we need to form our proposal around what other people are offering. The Gardeners round usually it offers 2 lots of 5 ETH, and there will be anywhere between 7 to 10 applicants, possibly more. So we have to kind of position ourselves to show the value, especially if there are other projects who are in there who are good. So it comes down now to just writing the application and submitting it to Dom. I'm currently in the middle of another writing thing, which is taking up all my time, and I haven't started that process yet, but it's something I will be working on over the next few days to week.
Awesome. The external documentation website, I'll be working on this a little bit more, creating some more support pages. I kind of skipped over this task as we were going, but essentially we have our terms of use and privacy policy. We have a Git book that is running and working. Now, what do we do with it? Well, we're going to add some documentation, including things like videos and stuff like that, so that it's easy for people to use our app. So that's going to be something we're working on as we go, but I don't think it's important.
I wanted to ask you about that, actually. When I was speaking to Moondao recently, I was speaking to Pablo from Moondao. He said that they actually transitioned all their docs over to a site called Obsidian, which is similar to Gitbook. They compared themselves to Gitbook, and it's far cheaper. So if you go to obsidian.md, this looks like a possibility for us. They've got far better pricing. The Gitbook pricing can get really expensive, especially with multiple users.
Yeah, well, we only have one user, right?
Yeah, that is true.
So we could move over, I guess. Like it's just like it's work, right? Because we already set up like our domain and everything. And
That's true.
I mean,
That's
we could
true.
do it if you really feel strongly about it, but understand that it's going to be work.
Yeah, just looking forward. I mean, if the amount of work that it takes now to change between the cost that it's going to take over, once we do have a larger team, and we need more than one user on our account, I just don't know if that will be worth it in the long run or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Small teams that want to documenting. So if we had this, like, let's say 1250 per user per month, 12.50 times 12 is 150. So it's like 3 times more for one user, right? Yeah. I don't know. We can maybe talk about it a little bit later at the ops and partnership meet.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right. So we talked about that external documentation website, and we did these things. Contributor NFTs. Yeah, how are the contributor NFTs going?
Yeah, that's similar to the other NFTs. I haven't done anything since the off-chain signing has been added, so I need to get them added, create the token, and then we can create the page. I'm also going to use the master the master doc, which the word escapes me. Sorry, my mind's elsewhere today. The payment doc, which we have with all the wallets, and I will create a whitelist out of that. So that is 50 plus wallets. I'll create
so there's the payment doc, and then there's also like the cap table, which you can find in Notion. The cap table is just like, I'm calling it a cap table. It's not really a cap table because it's not capitalization table. But if you go into the governance and you go down here, we don't have a token yet, so it's being tracked here. And I click on this. Here are the token allocations that we have so far. And this takes into account, here is our regular doc, right? Like this comes from our accounting doc.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it even has one of our newer contributors, Kosnavika here, right? And wallet address and everything. And it takes into account what was going on for season 3 to 5. So all these people as well. This was another 50 wallet addresses.
Okay, so I think I'm on Bankless Card accounting right now on the accounting tab. Where was the link to the don't have a token yet, so it's being tracked here. Gotcha. So under BCard holders, those wallet addresses, which are 80, 79.
80 people.
Okay. All right. So I'll use that list instead.
Cool. Sounds good. All
Yep.
right. So that's a good list to use. Actually, you know what? I may as well just put that in the use this for contributors. Boom. All right. So it's there in your Asana task as well.
Thank you.
All right. Ibiza next. How's this going, Rainus?
Oh, good. The videos have been delivered to Coffee Crusher, and she's gonna post the first 2 sometime very soon. And basically, it's done. I would say it's done. Coffee Crusher to post regularly throughout the time that we need to fill our content.
Okay, and can I leave it to you to ensure that the contributors are compensated for this as well?
Yes, I can do it over the holidays. It's gonna take me like one evening. I'm gonna put everything together. Probably gonna message you and for some details as well.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna remove it from the all team projects and leave it in communication and accounting. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. All right, always fun to have something done. Let's go down to create donor email list. So this is going to be a little bit more important now because I'm going to be trying to solicit donations. I'm going to try to get a donor email out before the end of the year. Hopefully very shortly, like before Christmas as well. It could be the last thing that people do before the end of the year. We'll see. Update cash flow for POC. This is something that I need to do, but maybe as I'll have a little bit of time in the new year, I'll work on it then. And making bank appearance. Actually, this is ready to be shipped pretty soon, right?
That is correct. It is edited, show notes are ready, and it is just ready to hit publish. I need to make audiograms though, so those aren't ready, but yeah, the episode's ready.
All right. Sweet. So I'll leave it in there for now. Yeah. And so that's it. Anything else anyone's working on that is not on this list? No? All
No,
right.
just trying to figure I'm trying to keep people at bay, if you will, because we do still have a lot of interest, and people like Fiat 24 are chomping at the bit to get a meeting with you specifically, and so that's kind of
We can book into the second week of January now. I mean, I think it's like
yeah.
I can set aside like let's say an hour or two a week max for
Mhm.
like those kinds of meetings.
Yeah, I get that, and I do try and field as much of that as possible. But with
I really
so much,
appreciate it.
yeah, with so much happening, it's really hard to filter through everything that comes through. There are a lot of opportunities, but there's there's not always incentive to capitalize on those opportunities, or it could lead us astray. Or you've been great at focusing on this POC launch, so that's been helpful. But then it's kind of like, we did talk about if we're going to go global, where do we go next? And that's really where we're going to capture all of these, because so many of these decentralized workers, including many people here in this call today, live outside the United States, outside Europe, outside of Canada and Australia. So that's where we have to really focus our efforts, I think.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that like the plan to actually make a user-friendly way for them to use our product, that is what we still need to figure out. We figured it out for one country, the United States, in a cost-effective way. And even then, it's not perfect. Like, I wouldn't say that we have bridged the UX gap by any means yet. We haven't accomplished our mission. But if that mission was easy to accomplish, we would have gotten it done sooner. But it's true. I did meet someone last week who is a potential worldwide issuer as well, out of Panama. This was one of Victor's contacts. And so I thought that was interesting too. But yeah, there's definitely, I think like Fiat 24 seems like they have a better tech stack that we can actually use. And as we've been seeing, at least Tom and I have been seeing on the front lines, that tech stack will be a big, I don't want to say issue, but it's going to be a big component in whether or not we're going to be getting on with a partner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So yeah. So if you want to book them into like the second week of January, my Calendly is Calendly, whatever, however you pronounce it, is open there, and we can start from there.
Okay. All right. I'll let them know that. Perfect.
Can I also ask you to communicate like our timelines to nouns?
Yes. Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We can float them like, hey, do you guys want to get a few alpha testers on though? Like, a couple like 3 to 5 nouns friendly people that are US based that want to give it a go and give feedback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they'll definitely, at this point, I believe Dom expects that, and I don't think he would want to send out an untested product either. So in terms of public launch, what was the preliminary date and set for that?
I would say that like, I'm saying mid-January right now, it's like roughly January 15th, but like, yeah, like, and the reason for that is like, well, our carrier is supposed to be ready on January 12th and all this kind of other stuff, but I just don't know with Transcard. Hopefully we get across the finish line with what we have right now, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, thanks for that. All right, so let's pop back to the weekly all hands, going down to what did we ship last week. So this is a big one. Tom pushed out a production release, which allows for the actual ordering of cards. And I got 3 alpha testers ready to test today. So this is a big moment. I mean, we don't know if it's going to work. Everything on the test side says it's going to work. In the meeting that we had with Transcard, we actually successfully got a card through the system. I think it's going to work, right? But this is why we were doing testing. Tom also pushed out a way for us to unblock ourselves on the rewards flow. So now we can work on this from an app perspective. Tom and Links push out a modal to encourage people to install the app on their home screen. So when you go to BanksCard, app.bankscard.xyz, it's going to show you a little link if you're on mobile to install it on your home screen. And I updated the card screen to make it look prettier, so it looks prettier. Tom and Links had a training on the Transcard admin panel, so we should be able to see things that are happening as they happen. I met with a potential worldwide card issuer out of Panama and Africa. Andros pushed out a Making Bank episode for review. Myself, NF Thinker, and Coffee Crusher reviewed it. I think Rainis also pushed out some reels for use on social media. Anyone else ship anything that they want to mention here?
I shipped a bunny corn with nouns on its head.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting a glass of water as we're speaking. But yeah, that is true. That was nice looking. I'm just gonna pour my glass of water and write it down.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit, but it works. It's a visual.
Hazu has dropped off of the radar, otherwise I'd get her to do it. But I think that she is like working on moving to Paris right now, so we shall see.
Okay.
And if Thinker shipped, shipped a bunny corn with Noggle on it. All right. Anyone else ship anything? All right. Well, we're doing good so far. On the discussion item side, I thought we might talk a little bit about let's call it a mini retrospective in that just reflection and what's next. So when we started this this proof of concept, we said if we do make the state, we can only make it if everything goes right. And at the time, everything was going right. And then we kind of ran into issues, I would say, with Transcard mainly. It's not to say that there were no delays on our end either, but certainly the process with Transcard took longer than we wanted. So, some things went wrong, and it was a very aggressive date from the get-go. They told us it was aggressive. We knew it was aggressive. So we didn't make this kind of mid-November date that we were originally aiming for. So, 6 weeks later than we thought, or I guess ultimately if we push out in January, it'll be 2 months later than we thought, which, ultimately is not that bad. There are lots of things that we do have. We can look at what we missed and we can look at what we have now. We do have a user-ready-ish product, which we can now start to iterate on from both a product and a distribution perspective. I remember our last retrospective, the communication with team was saying there's only so much you can communicate when you don't have a product. Well, now we have a product, right? So that's something that really unlocks some stuff on our distribution side as well. When I say distribution, I'm talking about things like marketing, getting people to be aware of us and getting people to actually use our product. And we do have some money in the bank, not a lot, but some for sure. And we have the ability to raise more. Not only that, we also have retro PGF, which will be incoming. I don't know how much that's going to be. It could be 3,000. It could be 130,000. Chances are it's not going to be 130,000, but whatever we get, it will help us get to where we need to be. So ultimately, we started this with no money. And I mean, we had a bunch of bank, but that's kind of it. And now we have a little bit of money, right? And it's not enough to be sustainable, but it was enough to launch a POC and keep it running for a little bit. So I think that it's really important for us to look at these things that we did get, that we did produce, even though we didn't make that Christmas date like we wanted, even though we didn't get that Christmas spending like we were hoping for, we are in a much better position than we were 4 months ago. So I think it's something to note. There are implications to this. We likely won't get as much spending per user as we hoped. This will mean it will be harder to raise money from VCs and the like. Do we even want to raise money from VCs? I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see, right? But that's something to note.
I would also say that it's important to note that we did get a proof of concept out this year, and we hit a major milestone, right? It wasn't public. You're right, we missed out on the Christmas spending, but we did get the proof of concept, and we're having people order cards today. It is 12 days after our intended launch for this for being able to order cards. But again, that was way out of our hands, and I think you're being kind to the process over at Transcard because it has taken a lot longer than we anticipated. And we were given times and dates when things would be delivered, and they weren't delivered. And it's impossible to develop an app if you don't have all the information you need. So I saw firsthand the struggle that you and Tom had to go through in getting some of those things working on the app side. So I would say that any delays that we've incurred on our side in terms of the app design are really down to being able to have the APIs and being able to have all the connections, and also trying to understand how traditional finance works, because none of us have a traditional finance background. So we've cobbled it together, we've put it together in a nice little package, and people are able to order cards. So proof of concept complete, and that is a huge, huge, huge win.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I will take the opportunity as well to just call out how awesome Tom did on the tech side. I think that it wouldn't have been possible without the two of us working in concert to get the app where it is right now. I think as well, we had a couple extra people on the product team who kind of dropped off after a little while as well. Anna Fant, who got a job. Kazu, who's first she got hacked, and then she's moving. She has all this stuff on her plate right now. And it was just really, we wouldn't have even gotten close to shipping if Tom wasn't there pumping out code on a regular basis. So I think that I just wanted to call out Tom there because, you really.
Well, thanks so much, guys. It just feels like it's good to help out. I'm happy that I can do what I can do, and hopefully we end up with something that is fun to use when we get it done.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be fun too. It'll be like points, but they actually do something. Points, but actual tokens. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking, I wrote a meme the other day, which was Web2 developers make in-app currency, and then that Midwit meme where it has the guy who's in the middle complaining, be oh no, you gotta have everything on permissionless whatever blockchains, and then we have the current Web3 devs who are just make in-app currency, right? That's kind of what they're doing, but ultimately we're doing that, but with actual tokens. So I think that there's a lot that we're going to be able to accomplish with this. Anyways, I digress. I agree with you, NF Thinker, and thanks, Tom, for making it happen as well. Any other reflections? I'm gonna call people out individually by name, unless anyone volunteers. Rainis, how about you? Any reflections on the launch of the POC?
So many. This year throughout, how we started with the validation, and the first half of the year was us looking for investment in any direction that we could, and we started by asking for 2 million. Then this number went down, throughout the year, went down to, okay, we can do this for 30K, which is from 2 million to 30K to get something working. And I think that's a very interesting turn in our understanding of how actually possible this is, and without us throwing our hands up in the air after a few people say, no, we won't give you 2 million. So that's something, what's one of the highlights. Well, for us in the communications, I love how me and Andy experimented with the different looks for the backgrounds, different styles of videos. That's something we're still experimenting with the celebration video. Maybe we'll try to do it on New Year's or something, because all of the versions that we film we don't like, so we are redoing it many times now. But hopefully the last one will be the best one. Um, I love that March started writing emails. Also, this the communications part. Like he tried writing articles, but that consumed a lot of his time and didn't work through. But like emails is something very effective, and we are shipping emails way more often for good stats as well. With good stats as well. That's true. Like 50% open rate and like 5 to 10% click rate. Like that's I looked on average like email marketing stats. It's like very good. Um, yeah. Reflections. I love the like how we although our partnership with the Gnosis card and all of that didn't go uh, very far currently. Maybe in the future, you never know. But I very much loved how that whole situation played out. Like we met some guy in Tallinn, and that escalated to an F meeting. Stefan in Barcelona, and then we helped them solve a few issues, I think, and we did the campaign, and like that was, I don't know, I love that as well. So many, I guess, overall uh, overall from the communication side of things, we tried so many different things. We saw what works, what doesn't. We keep experimenting, and once the product launches and we get some funding, we'll be ready to kick it into the gears and go full throttle. And right now we're just we're seeing whatever works, and I love that.
Yes, I absolutely love it too. How about you, Drost? Any reflections from you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just astonished that we're shipping. I mean, come on. The size of the team and the fact that we are shipping I mean, it is a financial product. It is a debit card. I mean, it just blows my mind. And we're going to have a physical object. Everything we do is virtual. And granted, a lot of it'll be done, virtually, but a physical card. I mean, this is other than a T-shirt. This is the first real physical manifestation of Bankless style. I mean, I'm just stoked. I mean, even if it doesn't become wildly successful, the fact that we've even gotten to this point is enormous, and I'm excited to see how it iterates. And yeah, I'm a little bit speechless actually.
Yeah, I mean, save it for your user test just in case it doesn't work. But all indications tell me it could work. I agree with you. I think that it is crazy that we're shipping something, right? I think it's crazy that we're going to have users using it, and that is, I've said it a bunch of times. That's the starting line for me. That's the point when we really become like that's the moment when we step into the arena, or however you want to call it. That's when our pirate ship gets its boat. That is when we are doing the thing that we set out to do. And so I'm also really really happy about this moment. Winverse, how about you?
You, from my end, I believe like my reflection has to basically be about the whole saga with HQ and how we're able to navigate through all of that. Honestly speaking, I didn't know. If you told me that we'll be at this stage now, I would not have believed that because like all of that communication and between the HQ, the DAO, all of that saga. I was like, I'm not so sure this this will go through. But seeing all of this happen now, seeing us get to where we are now, even though the launch has been delayed, But we are here now, and like Joe's just said, the physical manifestation of the card, just that's something amazing. That's really crazy, to be honest. And we're able to pull that through. We're able to navigate and get to this point. So it's just a big plus to see this actually happen and to be a part of it. So yeah.
And how about you, Christy? You're muted, Christy. I don't know if you know that.
Yep. Yeah, I missed my mute button again, but yeah. Well, so I haven't been around for too long, but I think I've been around here through some of the HQ DAO stuff, and it's great to see things stay on track, more or less, and excited to see what's coming up with starting the testing and all that stuff.
Awesome. I think that it's going to be, I mean, we're not out of the woods yet on the HQ stuff in general. It's still something we're going to have to negotiate, and we may have to rebrand Bankless Card. I mean, that's still an option that's on the table. I do think that we're going to end up staying Bankless DAO. And they have said you could be Bankless DAO Card if you want. And that they have no issue with that. So, that's an option. We'll see. But let's just say we're not out of the woods yet. But the fact that we're able to launch as Bankless Card, I mean, I think that that's really great because that's what we set out to do 18 months ago, is to launch a Bankless Card. And yeah, it definitely took longer than we hoped or wanted, but yeah, we're still moving forward, and I think that's great. All right, on the side of implications, there are some implications of not hitting these dates and that kind of thing. I think that we're not going to get as much spending per user as we hoped. In general, I know from retail, I made several retail products, and January, February, March, and even April are dead zones when it comes to buying things. So less spending in general means less spending on the card. But hey, I mean, you gotta eat. You gotta spend money to live.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there and agree with what you were saying at the very end there, is that even though big ticket item spending is down, there are things that people buy on a regular basis. I mean, I still put the same amount on my credit card every month, pretty much. I mean, it doesn't vary that much. And while I do buy extra things in December, there are the average things that go on there. If I can pay for my fuel, if I can pay for my food, if I can pay for things for my house, I would put all of those things on a Bankless Card if I had it. So we also should not discount the fact that people are going to put regular purchases on here. So missing out on the Christmas spending may not have as bad of effect as we had anticipated.
Yeah, I think in general, it gives us the ability to refine our distribution. I think the distribution is going to be the key here, right? We've spent some time on the product, and it's true the product is probably not as good as it could be, or not as good as it, but we'll be working on that. But ultimately, the thing that is unlocked now is going to be the distribution. How do we get people onto the card? How do we incentivize them to use the card, right? And so it's all about getting people on the card. It's all about promoting our values. If you use this card versus some other card that you have been using, well, this card is going to be supporting your community. That kind of thing, I think, is really, really important. We'll see, right? But we have to really be hitting people on the purpose side more so than the kind of financial incentive side, because of course, we can't beat extremely well-funded competitors who are effectively subsidizing people's card usage to give them individual rewards. I mean, they do that, but there are strings attached, right? We know that from one of the articles that we had been writing on how crypto cards make money. And in fact, probably in the new year, one of the things I should be doing for distribution is writing these long-form articles. I think that could help. Sam Marin, I think, could write some of these as well. But in general, as we are communicating, we can work on our distribution, and we have a product for people to use. So that makes our communication that much more effective. So that's one implication. Another implication is that, I mean, I kind of just mentioned it. Distribution is the next hurdle. How do we get people to use the card? And then iteration / retention. How do we get people to keep using the card? And then finally, fundraising for a sustainable, or I guess let's call it team sustainability. How do we enable our team members to work on this full time? Fundraising, donations, grants, something else. We know from this time last year that all VCs, every investor was looking for a proof of concept with decent traction, right? And so there are indications right now that people are starting to deploy funds. It might be, maybe we want to get some VC fundraising, right? Maybe that's the way that we want to do it so that we can work on this full time. Or maybe we want to do something completely different. Maybe we want to do an ICO. Maybe we want to create a co-op where we are getting people to buy in on this card, on this team, on this idea that hey, there are co-op banks. We are going to be a co-op bank, something like that. There are lots of different ways that we can look at this, but it's really important for us to figure this out if we want to continue working on this. So yeah, those are some of the implications. Any other thoughts or feelings on this?
It's hard to organize people who are distributed around the world, and when we're all in different time zones. I know this is a wider challenge of the whole ecosystem that we're working in, but yeah, it's still a challenge. It's hard to get people. I find that you get going. When I say you, I mean people in the Eastern time zone get going around 2 p.m. my time. And so for me personally, that's when I like to get fired up, but it also comes toward the end of my day. And so, yeah, working in it, what was the term you used the other week? It was a self-sovereign manner, self-accountability. That's super important. Beyond that, though, just trying to get things organized when people are on different time zones and different locations can be challenging. So, yeah, just wanted to throw in that little nugget that we all know, but it's important to recall every now and then.
Nice. Anything else? Feel free to say anything you like, It's the end of the year.
Yeah. Enough was talking about recurring payments. And I do think that's really key. I was listening to yet another podcast the other day, and this was Tim Ferriss, and he's actually talking with I forget the name of the person, but the point is that they were talking about Patreon subscriptions, and when Patreon ended up implementing recurring, it's like a 2-to-1 in terms of people who do recurring versus a one-off payment, and then that ends up being something that just stays there because people forget about the recurring payment. And so if we can get to I was kind of just thinking about this because it's basically a prepaid card. You load it with funds and then you spend the funds that are there. So you can't go beyond the amount of funds that are actually on the card, right? And so maybe one of the ways that we could position it or market it is, hey, this is also a way to help with your budgeting. So maybe you use that card for a specific set of types of purchases that you use and you set a budget per month for that. And so, you set up a recurring transfer into the card. That's that set amount you want to budget for that category or those categories of spending that you want to put on the card. And then you set up recurrings on it and you forget about it. And then that way, people don't even have to think about using the card, then they'll just be using it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if that's why companies like Crypto.com incentivize people to pay for their Netflix and other subscriptions through their service.
How do they incentivize people to pay for Netflix and stuff?
Oh, you know what? I might be confused. Don't they give them free Netflix if they
Yeah,
stay? Yeah.
I think that they give them free Netflix. Yeah, it was
Right,
like,
right. Yeah, but that would be something that we could maybe incentivize, like double your points if you pay for your subscriptions through the card or something like that.
mhm. I think like in general, these are like a lot of these, let's call them iterative improvements. Um, they're definitely things like using recurring payments and stuff. It really is going to depend on our technology, but we can kind of build that stuff up over time. I don't think we'll be able to do it out of the box, but over time we'll be able to do it. Like we talked about, like as well, recurring dollar cost averaging on Ethereum. So, hey, if you buy your Ethereum through us, and you always have money in your account, then we'll buy you like $100 every week or whatever you want, right? And that is a really good way for us to like set up recurring payments. Another thing that Victor was mentioning, this is one of our advisors on the card side. The one of the like really prominent ways to make money right now is to have people direct deposit their payroll into an account like this. Now, it doesn't really work for us because we don't have the full slew of banking tools. But if we did, and people are direct depositing their payroll into Bankless Card, and then they're using Bankless Card to make their purchases and stuff, all of a sudden you can start seeing how it gets easier. So all of these like little frictions. Oh, I have to add my own money in. I have to like do all this kind of stuff. Oh, I just have my paycheck going to my Bankless Card account, and doing that helps my community. All of a sudden, these start to make more sense. Anyways, there are all these like iterative improvements that we need to make. Definitely, I think, enough of those together create a really compelling product. So we need to work on them one at a time. Any other thoughts, feelings you want to share?
I would like to add on the international organizing problem. I think we need to go through the route of marketing through communities that have already active users, so that these communities do the marketing themselves for their own people in their own time zones. We like for us to go Bankless Card worldwide, we would need like people need to know what is Bankless, and then they receive Bankless Card, and those marketing costs to market all over Europe, all over Asia, and Africa, and the US, it's like crazy expensive. But a way around this is if we do provide this solution to communities, the communities are incentivized to market it themselves, because the communities make money from our card, and that's how we can go around the time zone issue and stuff, because the people will be marketing it to their own communities. That's what I wanted to add.
That's a big part of our go-to-market strategy, and it's something we want to test with Nouns and Bankless DAO. Bankless DAO, well, it's going to be harder right now, but it's still something we can test with Nouns DAO and other communities. In general, the go-to market of reducing our marketing costs by getting communities to market it for themselves is huge. But what it really takes for us to do that is to unlock revenue. And for us to do that, we need a certain amount of people using the card on the baseline. So there are ways that we can do this, but ultimately, yes, we're going to have to figure out how to make this work. And yes, it is a key part of our strategy, Raina, so I appreciate you mentioning that. All right, we're coming up to the end of our time here. Last meeting for Bankless Card for 2023. We started this year with a retrospective, and we talked about all the challenges that we had in 2022. 2022 was the first year that we were all kind of really working together on this. In 2021, I had started kind of solo and was doing stuff a little bit with Sam Marin, but it's really 2022 when the project started to actually become a project and not just anything else. And in 2023, I think we went from a project to a product. Okay, so we have a product out. I think like what 2024 could bring for us is a sustainable product. That is the hope. Now that we have something out there, or hopefully something that we can get out there, what we can do from here is work on our sustainability. And it's right on time for a potential bull market. So there's a lot of pieces in place right now, right here, for us to succeed. Of course, there are lots of challenges as well. We talked about the challenges around branding. We talked about the challenges around getting people to use the card. We talked about the challenges of going international. All of these challenges are here. But if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And we are in the best position right now to tackle these challenges. And if we succeed, we are going to be a sustainable team working together to bridge the UX gap between Web3 and the real world. And for me, that is everything. I think that is the most important part, is that we are able to get to the point where we're solving these real problems, solving our purpose. That's why I'm here. I think like one of the things I tell people is that the reason why I'm in Web3 is to build the next generation organization. We could have tried to pitch a VC early on with just 2 people and just kept pitching until we found someone, maybe got a couple $100,000 and launched something, but that still would have been a private company. It still would have been a private company with investors who can kind of tell you what to do and all these other kinds of things. Instead, what we built is a DAO that is a community that is releasing this card. That seems like a very subtle thing, and it took us a long time to get there. We had to create a legal Panama Foundation and figure out all of our legal structures and our governance structures and everything like that. But I believe the hypothesis is that it sets us up now to be an organization that people are drawn towards. And this works because we are a DAO, because we have a way for people to buy in, and we have a way for people to take ownership of an organization. The reason why we're bankless is because probably every single one of us got screwed at some point by an entrenched institution, a lot of them banks. What we're building right now is the next generation institution, an institution that instead of not stealing, but charging more year after year for the same or less services, we are going to have users and donators and the people who work on this thing together at the table. And the idea is that will build a truly resilient product, a truly resilient organization, and that, I think, will be better for the world. So thank you one and all for all the hard work you put in 2023. And 2024, I'm hoping, is our year of sustainability. But we'll see. We don't know. All I know is that I'm enjoying myself so far, and I'm going to continue to enjoy myself as long as we're all together. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Awesome, yeah, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. We can all build it together.
Let's do it. We're doing it
Bye.
together.
Thanks.
All the best.
Yeah.